Your dog looked into your eyes this morning. And in that single moment, something happened inside both of your bodies that no pill, no therapy session, and no human relationship can fully replicate. Scientists have now confirmed what dog owners have felt for thousands of years, but the truth is far stranger, far more beautiful, and far more biological than anyone ever imagined. This isn't a feel-good story about puppies. This is a scientific validation report, peer-reviewed, clinically tested, and frankly, kind of mind-blowing. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you will never look at your dog the same way again. Let's start with something that sounds like it belongs in a romance novel, but is actually hard neuroscience. When you look into your dog's eyes, your brain releases oxytocin. And so does theirs. Oxytocin, for those who don't know, is what scientists call the bonding hormone. It's the same chemical that floods a mother's brain when she holds her newborn baby for the first time. It's the same chemical that fires between two people falling in love. It is the biological glue of trust, safety, and connection. And here's what makes this absolutely extraordinary. It's a feedback loop. When you feel it, they feel it. When they feel it, you feel it more. Back and forth. A loop of neurochemical bonding, happening in real time, between two completely different species. This was documented in a landmark study published in Science magazine. Researchers measured oxytocin levels in both dogs and their owners before and after a gaze interaction. The results were staggering. Both species experienced a significant hormonal surge, simply from looking at each other. Think about that. No words. No shared language. Just eyes. And your nervous systems are already talking. But it doesn't stop at the eyes. Physical touch, petting, cuddling, simply resting a hand on your dog's back, triggers the same response. So every time you absent-mindedly stroke your dog while watching TV, every time you scratch behind their ears, you are both literally, chemically bonding. Your bodies are in a conversation your mind doesn't even know is happening. Here's a question the medical world is only now beginning to take seriously. What if the best stress relief device ever invented has 4 legs and a tail? The National Institutes of Health, the NIH, one of the most respected research bodies in the world, has been studying the relationship between human stress physiology and canine interaction. What they found should be on every doctor's prescription pad. Cortisol is your body's primary stress hormone. When you're anxious, overwhelmed, under pressure, cortisol surges through your bloodstream. Chronically elevated cortisol is linked to heart disease, immune dysfunction, depression, weight gain, and a dozen other conditions you definitely don't want. Now here's the extraordinary part. According to NIH research, spending just 5 to 20 minutes with a dog causes a measurable, statistically significant drop in cortisol levels. Not an hour. Not a therapy session. Not a medication with a 6-week onset time. 5 minutes. 5 minutes of petting a dog, sitting with a dog, simply being in the presence of a calm dog, and your body's stress chemistry begins to shift. This is why dogs are now being deployed in hospitals, university exam centers, airports, and disaster relief zones. Not as a gimmick. Not as a publicity stunt. As a clinically validated intervention. The science says your dog is medicine. But wait, it gets more interesting. Because the stress response doesn't just go one way. Research on heart rate variability, HRV, a key marker of nervous system health, shows something researchers have termed physiological mirroring. Your dog's heart rate and stress levels actually synchronize with yours. If you're anxious, they feel it. If you're calm, they calm. If they're settled, you settle. If they're alert, your body responds. You are not just companions. You are biological mirrors of each other. 2 nervous systems that have learned, over thousands of years of coevolution, to read and regulate each other. That is not sentiment. That is peer-reviewed physiology. Your dog knows you're stressed before you do. Not because they're psychic. Because they're smelling your chemistry in real time, and they're doing it with a precision that makes our best laboratory equipment look primitive. Let's talk about the canine nose. Because most people dramatically underestimate what this organ is actually doing. The human nose contains approximately 5 to 6 million olfactory receptors. That sounds like a lot, until you compare it to a dog's 220 to 300 million olfactory receptors. That's not twice as sensitive. That's not 10 times. That is up to 100,000 times more sensitive than the human nose. But it's not just about quantity of receptors. The architecture of a dog's nose is fundamentally different from ours. When we inhale, we breathe in and breathe out through the same pathway. Dogs have separate channels, one for breathing, one for scent analysis. This means that even as they exhale, scent molecules are still being processed and analyzed. Their nose is running a continuous, uninterrupted chemical analysis of the environment. Now here's where it gets genuinely astonishing. In 2022, a study published in PLOS One, a peer-reviewed scientific journal, investigated whether dogs could detect human stress through scent alone. Not through body language. Not through tone of voice. Through smell. The researchers collected breath and sweat samples from human participants in both relaxed and stressed states. The dogs were then presented with these samples, no human present, no visual or auditory cues, and asked to identify which was the stress sample. The accuracy rate? 93.7%. Let that number sit with you. 93.7% accuracy from a blind scent test, in detecting whether a person was experiencing stress. Dogs are smelling the chemical changes in your perspiration, the microscopic shift in your sweat composition when your cortisol rises, when your adrenaline spikes, when your body goes into a threat response. And they are identifying it with a precision that rivals a laboratory. This is why dogs are now being trained to detect cancer, particularly lung and breast cancer, through breath samples, epileptic seizures, sometimes minutes before they occur, diabetic hypoglycemic episodes, by smelling blood sugar changes through skin, COVID-19, with accuracy rates comparable to PCR tests in early trials, PTSD episodes in veterans, by detecting neurochemical shifts before a flashback intensifies. Your dog isn't just smelling if dinner is ready. Your dog is reading your biochemistry like a medical instrument, and responding to it instinctively before you've even consciously registered that something is wrong. That concerned look they give you when you're sad? That nudge under your hand when you're anxious? That's not coincidence. That's chemistry. The position your dog chooses to sleep in tonight is not random. It is a precise, behaviorally encoded message, and science has now decoded exactly what each position means. Dogs sleep between 12 and 14 hours a day. And how they sleep, and where they choose to sleep, is one of the most revealing windows into their psychological state, their sense of safety, and their relationship with you. Let's break down the science. The donut, curled position. When a dog curls into a tight ball, nose tucked near tail, body compact, this is a posture inherited directly from wild ancestors. It serves two survival functions. First, it conserves body heat. The compact position minimizes surface area exposed to cold. Second, and perhaps more importantly, it protects the vital organs. In the wild, the exposed belly is a vulnerability. Predators go for the abdomen. Curling protects it. When your dog curls in this position, they are comfortable, but not completely at ease. There is still a thread of ancestral vigilance running through them. Belly exposed, the surrender position. Now contrast that with the dog who flops onto their back, forepaws in the air, belly fully exposed. This is the most psychologically significant sleeping position in canine behavior. In the wild, exposing the belly is one of the most dangerous things an animal can do. It is a position from which escape is nearly impossible. It leaves the most vulnerable part of the body completely undefended. A dog who sleeps belly up is making a declaration: I am completely safe. There is zero threat here. My nervous system is fully at rest. If your dog sleeps like this in your presence, take it as a profound compliment. They feel more secure with you than they would feel in the wild on their most peaceful day. Back to back, the trust position. Perhaps the most emotionally significant sleeping behavior is when a dog presses their back against yours, or against another dog's back. This is what behavioral scientists call social referencing and trust signaling. Here's why it matters. A dog's blind spot is behind them. In any threat scenario, the rear is the most dangerous direction, the one they cannot see, cannot monitor, cannot defend against. When a dog sleeps back to back with you, they are placing their most vulnerable blind spot in your protection. They are saying, in the clearest possible behavioral language, I trust you with my life. While I sleep, I am giving you my back. Applied animal behavior science has documented this as a manifestation of what researchers call the secure base effect. Just as a child runs to a parent when frightened and uses them as a base from which to explore the world safely, dogs use their primary human as a psychological anchor. A living, breathing safe haven whose proximity allows their nervous system to fully relax. When your dog sleeps near you, they are not just seeking warmth. They are seeking you, specifically, neurologically, biologically. Your presence is their tranquilizer. Dogs were not built for your schedule. But somewhere in the 15,000 years of life alongside humans, they made a choice, a biological, neurological choice, to sync their rhythms with yours. And that choice cost them something. In the wild, canines, wolves, their closest genetic relatives, are what biologists call crepuscular. This means they are naturally most active at dawn and dusk, the low light periods, the transition zones between day and night. This makes evolutionary sense. Prey animals tend to move at these hours. Temperatures are more moderate. The light conditions give predators a slight advantage. But look at your domestic dog. Most of them sleep when you sleep. Most of them are active when you're active. They wait for you during the day and come alive when you return. This is called social synchronization, and it represents one of the most remarkable feats of behavioral adaptation in the animal kingdom. Over thousands of years of domestication, dogs didn't just learn to tolerate human schedules. They restructured their circadian rhythms, their internal biological clocks, to align with ours. They went from a crepuscular species to a diurnal one, active during daylight hours, resting at night, not because of genetics but because of relationship, because of the bond. Because being close to you, being in sync with you, proved, evolutionarily, to be more valuable than any other adaptive advantage. Researchers call this social facilitation, the phenomenon where social cues from a trusted companion override even deep biological programming. Your dog didn't just adapt to living with humans. They adapted to living with you. Your patterns, your rhythms, your comings and goings. And that adaptation is written into their nervous system as surely as any genetic code. Part 5. The myths that science has officially buried. Firehook number 6. Everything you think you know about being a pack leader is wrong. And believing it may actually be damaging your relationship with your dog. Let's clear the air. Because some of the most popular ideas about dog behavior are not just outdated, they are scientifically invalidated. Myth number 1. Your dog sees you as the alpha. This was a dominant theory for decades. The idea was that dogs view their human family as a wolf pack, and they are constantly testing to see who is dominant, who is the alpha. Modern behavioral science has definitively disproven this. Dogs did not domesticate into wolves. They domesticated into something new, a species that interprets humans not as dominant pack members, but as parental figures. The relationship a dog has with their primary human closely mirrors the attachment bond between a child and a parent, not the dominance hierarchy of a wolf pack. This matters practically. Dominance-based training techniques, designed around the pack leader myth, can increase anxiety and fear in dogs, the opposite of building a secure bond. Myth number 2. Dogs sleep close to you for protection. This one feels intuitively true. Your dog is guarding you through the night, right? Sometimes. But most of the time? No. Research shows the primary drivers of proximity sleeping are thermoregulation. Dogs are warm-blooded creatures who benefit from shared body heat and psychological comfort, the secure base effect we discussed earlier. Your dog sleeps near you because they feel better, because their nervous system regulates in your presence. You are their comfort, not their assignment. Myth number 3. If your dog withdraws, they're upset with you. If you notice your dog suddenly becoming isolated, less engaged, spending more time alone, our instinct is often relational. We wonder if we've done something wrong, if they're angry, if the bond has shifted. But behavioral science flags something critical here. Sudden withdrawal is a clinical sign, not an emotional one. In animal behavior, this pattern is called sickness behavior, a biological response to illness, pain, or physiological distress. A dog who suddenly isolates is almost certainly telling you something is physically wrong. Don't interpret it as moodiness. Don't try to emotionally reconnect. Call your veterinarian. Here is what 15,000 years of evolution, hundreds of peer-reviewed studies, and one extraordinary cross-species relationship has proven beyond scientific doubt. Your dog is not a pet who has learned to tolerate your company. They are a living being whose hormones, nervous system, sleep patterns, circadian rhythms, and scent analysis have been sculpted, across millennia, specifically to bond with you. When they look into your eyes, they are triggering the same neurochemical cascade that bonds mothers to children. When they press against you at night, they are trusting you with their most vulnerable blind spot. When they smell your stress before you feel it, they are running a biochemical analysis more sensitive than hospital equipment. And when they change their very sleep schedule, their ancient biological clock, to match yours, they were making a choice that no other species on Earth has made so completely, so willingly, so unconditionally. So the next time your dog looks at you across the room, know that something real is happening. Something chemical. Something ancient. Something validated in peer-reviewed journals and NIH research and studies published in Science. Something that, for all our technology and intelligence and language, we still can't fully explain. And maybe we don't need to, because they already know.